Marilyn Monroe once said, "Sometimes good things fall apart so that better things can fall together." 10 years ago, I was living in New York City and I was working myself to the ground as a consultant, traveling all over the world. And then one day, I got a medical diagnosis. My doctor told me the stress, the pressure, and all the traveling of my career and my job, it was going to eventually take me out. I remember thinking, he's exaggerating. I can probably do this for another 2 years. And then a few months later, in a 1-week time span, I nearly had 3 near-death experiences. And I'll never, ever forget the last one. I almost drove into an exit barrier while I was getting out of the highway because my boss was calling me. I felt I had to take the call. I remember I pulled off to the side of the road and I reflected on what my doctor had said. And I had to ask myself, was I willing to die for this job? And then the next day, I handed in my resignation. And I immediately booked a retreat at a place in upstate New York. And for the first time in my life, I had to pause and reflect. I remember walking the trails near my cottage for miles at a time, for hours every day. And I also remember for the first time being able to smell the flowers and just be in an environment where I could nurture myself. And I made a decision at that moment that I needed this in my life. I needed to do it every year. And for the last 10 years, every year I've gone on a retreat as a way to honor myself. And this changed the trajectory of my life. And now 10 years later, I have a family that I adore, and I get to work with teams to navigate the most challenging and difficult changes and transitions that they encounter in their organization. And we do it in such a way that they do not burn out. If you see that you or your team are experiencing burnout, I want you to know that there is a process to deal with it. So reach out to us and we will discuss some insights and strategies and best practices that can help you and your team experience something different and something new so that burnout becomes something of the past in your organization. And everybody feels empowered to go from burnout to breakthrough.